Hi everyone, welcome to the Experimental Show. This is where Jake and I goof around trying to figure out some new things and show you some new concepts. This is our color chopper. It seems like it would be efficient, but it does completely make a mess. And what I'm looking forward to doing in this cup, I'm gonna make two style glasses, and I want all these different blues. Now some blues are soft and some are harder in terms of when I attach them to the glass. But I stick them all in the garage, and Jake's putting this heated door. He's walking over to the garage, and inside there right now are a bunch of the colors. They're lined up. The reason this cup takes so long to make is that we're gonna do multiple colors on it. In the end, we end up putting 5 coats of color. Here is me heating up the first color. It's a small bit of glass that goes on the end of the punty rod, and I just put a little water on the pipe to cool that glass down, so the next time I go in to heat, that light blue on the end will get super hot. Now normally if we're gonna do production, we would have these colors prepped and ready, but we're just doing the experimental show, so this is the part that takes a little bit of time. The color wasn't quite heated, so when Jake went into the glory hole here, it snapped and some of it flew out the door, and there's no reason to waste it, so we just picked it up off the floor and he's heating it up. So we're gonna see we've got 5 different pipes that we have this color on it. It's a slow heat. You can see I'm like, okay, this takes forever. Becky was doing the photographing this time. So she's learning the process as we go along. Now I'm going to start the core as a clear. So again, it's not orange, it's just clear right now, but so hot. I used the new wooden block that Ivan came, and if you saw us on the Glass Art Society, I think it was show 218, you can see where Ivan dropped off those new blocks, and they're fantastic. I loved it. It was super nice, very smooth to use. What I'm doing here is just straightening out the tube. I want a tube of glass to apply the color to. We're going to apply multiple layers of color. I want them to overlap and cross over each other. It's a little odd because I've got to shoot the bubble down to the bottom. That's not normally how you do it. Jake sticks it onto the side. We have one color on there, and I just want this super random, so I asked him to go back and forth, and we're just wrapping it around. This is a really nice blue. You can see it on the marver there. It's a deep blue. I'm going to add some of the other colors into this design as well. Every time we add a color, we have to go back and heat it. Here's a white being added. The white is a stiffer color. In retrospect, when I saw the finished piece, I would have preferred to do white first and then the blue over it. So when you drank from and looked at the inside of the cup, you'd see more of the white and the overlays. Using the softer blue on the inside, the color pattern didn't do quite what I thought, but we'll try it again. So now I'm going to, this is an encalmo technique, it's adding clear onto the color pattern. So Jake is kind of babysitting there the color pattern, and he's heating it up, keeping the tip warm. We've matched up the sizes so that they'll fit. Using the torch here, what you don't see is I'm at the other end. In just a minute, I blew some air down the pipe, and that hole was hot, or the end was hot, so I was able to blow a hole in the bottom of it. And now I'm going to open it up enough to match the size of the cup that Jake has in his hand. Lining them up, we make sure that they are the same size. Who's paying attention on this one? We don't normally use a hammer here, but Jake saw it sitting on the table, so he was being goofy. At the bottom, the color just wasn't pretty, so I'm pinching it to bring it together. I'll snip that off, and then I'll begin the blowing process. This is gonna end up looking like a rocks glass, was the size I was going for. Jake is on the other end blowing as I expand the glass. And at some point we're actually going to hand it off. Putting the neck in the piece. Color pattern's super cool, and I also think that it will do really well if the bottom's very thick. So I'm going to have a separate piece of glass added onto the bottom of this. So it will raise the color pattern and allow some light to go through underneath the cup, but it also makes the cup nice and substantial. And there's the color pattern. It's all these layers of blue. It's really cool. But here is the solid glass that will go on the bottom. We have two different tools he's going to use here, the taglia, which is the metal tool, and then I'm going to come over with a wood paddle in just a second. So it's nice and hot, he just squashes it right on, and then pushes down on the top so it's the same diameter as the cup, and I'm using the paddle on the bottom to make sure it's nice and flat. The cool thing about glass is you can actually trim it. I suggest doing that on all pieces because it pulls out the top, thins it out a little bit, and it's always going to be thick at the top if you don't trim it. So we can recycle that glass, and we do, but he just gave it a nice trim to the proper size, and holding the paddle on it, the top will be nice and level. Instead of signing the glasses, we have a little bronze stamp. Put a small dollop of glass on there, and then using a torch, heat it up nice and hot so we can push our logo design in there. Cup is super cool, very fun. Will be much easier to do in a production setting where all the guys are working and we just do them one after another, but just doing this one gave me an idea of the setup that I want. And away it goes into the annealing oven. Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to catch us Tuesday night on The Gathering Point.